So, in the other two videos, we got our water boiling, we got our ginger root, our honey, and all of our stuff into the pot that needed to boil. We got our fruits cut, and so right now, I'm in the process of getting the water cooled down. So like, if you ever watched my videos with my beer brewing, you don't want your water to be too hot. And so you want between 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit so you don't kill the yeast. And that's the one reason why you want to chill any of your brew. So with that said, we got our 5-gallon bucket and our packet of yeast. The yeast I like to use, you can use any wine yeast you want. There's certain yeast that will give you more of a brut taste, which is a dry, strong taste. There are yeast that will give you kind of a sweeter taste. I prefer a champagne yeast. I don't know why, it just kind of, because champagne yeast kind of gives you a little bit of a, kind of more of a dry wine taste. And I like that because we already have enough sweetness as far as the honey and all the fruits. So this will kind of help counterbalance that a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our little brew sock full of our fruit. I got, like I said, my oranges, my peaches, and my mango. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put that into the bucket. You know, actually, I'm going to put that out to the side for right now because we do want a 5-gallon batch. So we want at least to about 4 gallons because this is going to offset it a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in. We're going to fill up to 4 gallons. Now we got our pot with our mixture with our ginger root and all that. We're going to dump that in. Now as I said, we want to top that off to at least 5 gallons. And so I'm going to cool it down because it's still a little bit warm. We're going to cool it down by adding chilled water. Now, right now, at this time of date, distilled water is hard to find. And if you watch any of my other videos, I've told you that it's fine. If you cannot find distilled water, get you a water filter. So if you have one of those pure water filters that connects to your water faucet, that's fine. It's going to be a little bit slower filling your water bottles. I bought an under the sink water filtration, and that seems to be my favorite so far. And because you get the same flow from the faucet as you would as if you didn't have the filter, but it removes all the contaminants that would have otherwise affected your brew. So of course right now we are at about 4 gallons, 4.5 gallons. And we're going to top it off to about 5 gallons. So I'm going to add a little bit more cold water. Now I'm going to check my temperature. But once I check my temperature, I'm going to cut my yeast packet open. I'm going to sprinkle my yeast open. I might sprinkle my yeast into the mead. And we're going to put the lid on it. We're going to let it sit for 1 month. So that brings me to another subject. A lot of recipes that I've looked at, it said to remove the fruit after 1 day. I like to be a little risk taker and not follow all the rules. I usually leave my fruits in for the whole month that is fermenting. So give me a second, my jug is full. And we're going to top off to 5 gallons. there we go. We are at 5 gallons. Another thing I've noticed too is that depending on the time of year, depends on how my brew comes out. Now, I haven't bought one yet, but I want to. There is a thing online through a website where you can buy a wrap. And what the wrap does is it controls your temperature of your brew. So if it needs to stay at like 72 degrees for however long you're doing it, you can set it, and it's like a thermostat, and it's like a little blanket wrap. So far right now we got our fruit and our water and our mixture set up. I'm going to go ahead and stir it a little bit. And we are at about the temperature that we need it to be. We're at about 75 degrees, which is just fine. So right now, I'm going to take my packet of yeast, which I went ahead and I dipped my yeast in sanitizer just to make sure that anything that's on it is been killed, as far as anything that would cause it the fermentation to not go right. Sanitize my scissors. Go ahead and cut that. And we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle that on top. And we're just going to let that sit and ferment. Put our lid on. And then you will notice your airlock will start to bubble within 1 to 2 days. And even though it's done bubbling, go ahead and let your fermentation last at least for about 3 to 4 weeks. And then once that is done, we will go ahead and we'll transfer this brew into bottles. So until then, enjoy and have fun watching your brew bubble.